This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Boys, I am full of jizz. My balls weigh a ton. It's time for week 11. Let's go.
Just ask Eminem. There's 100 things that rhyme with orange if you say it right.
Do we believe we know who the one person is?
No, I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
Aussie?
Just want to say, g'day. Eat a bag of fucking big, sweaty fucking bear dick.
I can't say goodbye to myself, Taylor. My head's fucking missing.
NFL?
Our first question is from, Ronald McDonald. That's a great handle.
Doesn't sound any different to what I'm used to, boys. Let's go.
Fantasy.
Fuck, I haven't been called a gentleman a long time, Matty.
Get ready to get dunked on, buddy.
Nice to see the protege just kick the teacher in the groin and run away.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Taylor just shook me right at the start of the week and I was fucked.
Australia's premier NFL fantasy football show is back for the Sunday show. You're listening to the Aussie Gridiron Network, and this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. They call me Matty C, and with me tonight is Australia's second finest fantasy analyst. And I say that because I've got a scoreboard to bring up later, but let's not bury the lead. It's only Taylor Goodall. How are you, mate?
Cuts deep, Matty. Cuts deep. Look, it's just going to be an absolute bloat fest from you, mate. So I guess I would like to keep chatting so it stops you from chatting, which would be absolutely fantastic for me, the listeners, just the world in general. But I guess we're just going to have to listen to you wax lyrical until either the world or I start pulling their fingers out of our asses, eh?
That's the long and the short of it, pretty much. It's a historic run from your boy over here. And what is great about it is I know it's fragile. I know at any minute it could be over. So I'm just fucking making the most of it and leaning in like nobody's business and telling everybody who will stand still long enough for me to tell them. And I've annoyed a lot of people this week, Taylor.
I've never seen so many scoreboard updates in my entire life. Like, it's just constant. It's like, last year I felt like I had to it was like fucking...
yeah, you were desperate to get updates.
Yeah, I couldn't get updates. I was basically having to do all the numbers myself just to sort of let everyone know exactly what the score is. Whereas this year, it's just fucking every hour. It's like, what's the scoreboard now? Matty C's still in front. Like, it's just an absolute gloat fest. And look, I'm here for it. It's
and rightly.
You know, it's kind of... If we weren't gloating about our wins, we wouldn't feel like we actually care about this segment, and that would be worse. So
yeah, that's true.
I kind of like that whoever is winning kind of has a bit of a gloat because it's actually a segment that we enjoy, and we're all people that want to win. So yeah, it's good.
That's the best segue to bring in our guest, of course, because if you catch the Friday show, you know all about it. But if you haven't, firstly, you're a Pelican, and secondly, let's catch you up. Our guest won the start to the week in week one, and he is, I don't know, officially, unofficially captain of the world team. Either way, it's just our brother from the Northern Territory, KEV Patterson, and Captain Coach. It's good to have you back, mate.
1-0, Matty, 1-0. Now, Taylor told me on the fly this week, he said, I plan to beat Matty so hard in starts of the week this week that he turns into Packers fans when they talk about Titletown and 13 titles, all that sort of bullshit. Like just talking about the past, because that's how far he plans to put your lead in the past by the end of the season. That's what he said. That's his word, not mine. Just like the Deadpool rant, Deadpool and Wolverine, that was exactly what Taylor went on.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like something I'd say.
Mate,
Taylor's version had a lot more dicks and balls in it, though. Like I just PG'd it down a bit.
So now we know it's authentic.
I mean, Taylor would know a lot about that. He's a Knights fan. It's been over 2 decades since his team last tasted success. So this is a guy who knows about talking about the past, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. The success is not recent.
2 from 2.
He said he's going to beat you so hard that you forget who Trevor Lawrence is.
Yeah. I'm down for it. I mean, it's been a historic 4 weeks in a row. I don't know. It's hard to suppress the Matty C who wants to burst out and tell everyone how shit you all are. So, what's happened to you people? I don't understand. I was horrible at this segment 15 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden I'm some fucking doyen. What's the matter with you people?
You know when it all started? When you brought Pete Neal on and he did start to the week team. That's when the world just went downhill. I remember. I was like, fucking Pete, when you sent me the team, and it's just been downhill since.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew of the 101.
Yeah, fucking, exactly. Gardner fucking Minshew.
Wow.
He might as well have started Mac Jones.
Kev, you're maybe the proudest guest we've ever had on about the start of the week record, and rightly so. You came in, you towelled us up week one, Taylor. You and I, we took a really fucking long look in the mirror, and we came back in week two, and we equally stunk. So we really felt the aftershocks of the Kev appearance.
It started ridiculously shit for me and you, but you sort of just at least were able to get the 2 points in those 2 weeks, and I just ate a little bit more dicks. And then, if anything, like me tying up the world actually feels like some sort of accomplishment for how bad I was in those first 2 weeks. I've at least somehow, outside of the weeks where I haven't even fielded an entire team, been able to actually sort of eke my way to at least a respectable equal second in the leaderboard. But yeah, right. Like, it was a real tough start for both of us. Like, the world was just absolutely dominating. Him and Brendo just fucking got them a great start. But look, in the end, it's not over till the fat Taylor sings, is what I always say. And look, let's fucking get to it.
Wow. Okay. We will get to that. We've got a bit to accomplish first. Of course, every show is not complete without a dive into the mailbag. So I'm going to throw in the drop and bring in the bag.
Where's the mailman? Need some advice?
Would you rather have a small slice of a lovely cake?
Who has the mail?
Or would you rather a huge piece of a dog shit cake?
Thanks to your questions at Pastry Press NFL. And Aussie NFL Fantasy.
I guess this is kind of a shit cake, but it can be a decent cake too.
Our first question comes from, it's a sure thing, but sure is spelt like a beach, Shore. It's a sure thing. Desperate. Kate Otten is on a bye. Jonnu versus Las Vegas, or Gulp Ferg versus Houston. Tay, I feel like you might love one of these guys, but it's tough.
It is. I've had Fergalicious in a few leagues, and honestly, I've dropped him in, I think, all of them. I don't think he's viable anymore. And the problem is at tight end. Full dropped. Yeah, I've gone different ways. I just if you got him in a dynasty, obviously you'd hold him, and I'd still look for a different option if you've got one on your bench. But honestly, it's just hard enough for tight ends to like. The thing about Berg was he was red zone. Like, he was obviously high passing volume from Dak, and he was just such a red zone threat. The problem is with this Cooper Rush-led Dallas team is they don't have any passing yards, they don't have high volume, and they're not in the red zone. So I just don't understand what Ferg means. Like, there are just better options at tight end. There's at least a chance at a touchdown from other guys, whereas, like, I just don't see how Ferg's a chance at a touchdown at the moment. Like, this team can't move the ball. So, yeah, I think there's better options, honestly. I would play Jonnu over him this week. 100%.
Is Jonnu a better option than Ferg?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly like before when we were doing the trade thing with Derrick Henry and CD Lamb, and I said, I don't know how you can trust CD Lamb at the moment. Not that it's a CD Lamb problem, it's a who the fuck is passing the ball problem. And Ferguson falls into the same boat. I'd take Jonnu.
Don't you love a bit of Trey Lance?
Oh, mate, I was real happy to see the Niners trade up and take him.
but I guess this is the question, right? So, do we see Trey Lance as an upgrade over Cooper Rush?
Yeah, I don't know if Trey Lance has shown enough to make you that confident in him either, considering where he was when he left San Francisco, and he couldn't beat out Cooper Rush for the starting backup job as a former number 2 overall pick, 3 overall pick.
How bad must Trey Lance be in training? Like, I've been asking this question for a while because, like, he cannot beat out Cooper Rush to start. The Niners were doing everything they could to not start him. Like it was, even just putting in their 7th round fucking rookie, like, over him. Like they must have been seeing something. Like, it was red flags galore that the Niners just were watching him in fucking training because they have so much investment in this guy. Like, all they needed to see was one okay thing out of him and they would have put him in there because they needed the investment to work, and that they still wouldn't even do it. Like, it's so obvious that this guy must be showing them just absolutely horseshit things in training because this guy cannot even beat out Cooper Rush to start. So there are serious worries. I don't think Lance would help the passing game. I would say there's at least an upside because of his legs. Like he might be able to actually like move the ball a bit. Like he'd obviously be a better fantasy asset than Cooper Rush, but I still don't think either of them are going to be helping out their receivers. Put it that way.
It's a sure thing. Your sure thing is Johnny versus Las Vegas over Ferg at Houston.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's fantasy, right? Because it's not about winning football games. It's about scoring points and winning your game in 1 week against one opponent. That's fantasy. That is 100% fantasy. It is a weekly game. Tenerife Relief wants to know, 4 and 6, finding it hard to know if I'm looking good for a playoff spot. Is it a good idea to sell Mike Evans? What should I be looking for back?
Yeah, obviously at 4 and 6, like I'll be honest, I just brought this up on the last show. I've kind of been doing the opposite. Like if I've got a team where I'm going quite well, I'm doing the opposite of this, where I'm trying to target the Evans owner. And what I've actually done in a couple of those leagues is I've set Devontae Adams in a trade for him, because Adams is the kind of guy that I am okay giving up a week of him, but I still feel like he's got a good enough name that someone would take him on, knowing that if, say, they are a 4 and 6 team, that he's a decent enough asset to plug and play for that week in a must-win week, whereas like I believe that Evans has the far bigger upside moving forward after that. So that's, I guess, one guy I would sort of float out there is Adams is a bit iffy, but he's also got the name value that if all of a sudden 1 week looked great with Rodgers, you'd believe the connection was there again, and he'd be the guy that everyone would be sort of stoked with. So that's sort of a name that's just off the top of my head, because I'm sort of doing the opposite of that, where I'm trying to be the guy that's sending Adams for Evans because I've got good records in those leagues. So it's sort of like wide receiver 15 to 20 sort of range guys. For an Evans who has a bigger upside when he's back, but obviously you're not getting anything out of him as a 4 and 6 team this week.
Yeah, I guess that's the urgency, right? So Evans is on the bye, so you're selling him knowing he's 0 points this week. Kev, that must mean you've got to aim for a team who've got a pretty good record, right?
It's a bit of a tough question, really, Matty. Like, what's the rest of his team look like? Does he have 3 good wide receivers? Is he looking to upgrade at running back? Is it a dynasty league? Is he looking like maybe I'm just going to see if I can get a pick for him and sell out? I'm a bit in agreement with Taylor. I don't think you're going to get a lot of value back for Evans compared to what he's going to give you if you can make a fantasy playoff push. If you can get through this week, get him back in your lineup, and the Bucks have a pretty good schedule going through to the fantasy playoffs. Like, he's a guy I think if you sell him, you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is why the guy who's got the good record could eat the bye and ride at home. But if you've got the dodgy record, but you think you can sail it this week, hang in.
Yeah, I think if you can get through this week when he gets back, just stay with it.
That would be my advice. I would say if you're a good team, try and trade for that 4 and 6 teams Evans. If you're the guy with Evans, try and hold on. That would be my advice in general. If you had to trade, it would be someone like an Adams, just someone you could plug and play this week and hopefully give you a good game. But like Kev said, if you've got enough coverage, I would hold Evans, because if you get yourself to 5 and 6, he's the guy that could propel you to being a contender.
All right. Last one comes in from Burrow the Lead NZ. Tay, might be one of your people. Tay, quick. Rest of season, Love or Herbert? Go.
Oh, well, I know where Kev's leaning. Loves himself some fucking cheese.
Did you say Love himself?
Oh, that's a great wordplay. It's a tough one, honestly. Like, this is the start of the year, you go and Love easily. And then after what you saw in the first 2 or 3 weeks, it was probably even more so. Even though obviously Love got the injury, but it is tough because like Herbert's obviously turned things around. He looks healthy. He's throwing the ball more. Love has kind of been iffy. Like I actually feel like he's been a bit of disappointing. I know he had the injury, but since he's been back, he just hasn't looked amazing like that. Even though it was pissing down rain, that game against the Lions was pretty atrocious, honestly. So, and even though
Golf looked okay.
even though I like Jaden Reed, it just feels like there isn't like a full-on set one that you just know is going to just like give him the baseline every single week. It's like Jaden Reed has 100 yards in one game, and then all of a sudden he's 2 for 16 in another game, and you're just never 100% sure with him. So I don't know. That is a really tough question. I don't think I would be trading either of them for the other. Like if I had one of them, I'd probably just stay put. But if it's a gun to my head to say which one I think has the better rest of season, I'm probably still going to lean Love. But fuck, I think
it sounds like might be difference between keep a guy and ship him out for the other guy.
I don't think
on waivers.
Yeah, if they're both sitting there on waivers, I can't imagine they are. I'd lean Love. I still feel like there is sort of like a better upside with him, I think. And again, it's really hard. I honestly just don't. It'd be a matchup play. If you give me the matchups, like the Chargers have a better set of matchups the next 4 weeks than Love, I just don't have that in front of me right now. That's what I'd be doing if I was in waivers. Or if I was looking at that, I would. But yeah, off the top of my head, I think Love maybe, but that's really, really tough. I actually just don't think I would bother moving if I had one of them.
Okay. Hey, Kev, where do you land? And I know the Packers thing, let's put that aside for a second and just think fantasy.
I'd love to put him in the bin. No, it's Justin Herbert for me. I think this offense is starting to come on. They've got a couple of really big matchups coming up. Obviously, Cincinnati this week we've talked about. Then they go to Baltimore, who can put up points, and they'll have to score as well, who aren't exactly a good pass defense. Then they go to Atlanta, who can put up points, and, Herbert's going to have to sling the ball. Then they've got Kansas City, which, that's a bit tougher, but if they're on a bit of a roll. Then they go to Tampa Bay. They're playing the Bucks, whose defense can't stop a wet paper bag.
Yeah.
Then they got the Broncos, the Patriots, and they finish off with the Raiders. So yeah, give me Justin Herbert. That run home into the playoffs as well. Fucking give it to me.
It's where my gut was leaning to. Okay, so I think generally we're kind of leaning Herbert, unless you already own Love and you got some confidence.
Love's matchups are shit house too. I just had a look. It's like 5 of the next 7 are basically minus matchups. Like they're basically in the red in terms of if you're looking at the matchups in NFL.com at the Bears, San Francisco, Dolphins. Dolphins are like stingy as fuck against the quarterback position. The only like okay matchups are the Lions and Seahawks in the middle. But then your last 2 games in your fantasy playoffs are the Saints and the Vikings, who are both basically top 10 against the quarterback position. So yeah, honestly, looking at that, like if I was going through all that and the matchups, I would definitely go Herbert as well.
Right. Herbert it is. Feel free to jettison Love for Herbert.
Herbert triple rounds.
Wow. And I'm okay with that. Wow. Okay. So, mailbag done. Do you know what that makes it time for, fellas?
Time to go and give the missus 40 seconds of her life.
We've dropped it down to 40 from 45. We're up there too high.
It's getting late and we're tired, boys. So let's be honest. We can do it in 40 if we have to.
Efficiency. That's what we're known for.
That's what women love the best.
In the beginning, there was nothing, a featureless void. From the formless primordial state, a legend was born when forces combined to create a solid object of significant value. As planets were formed and Earth itself was shaped, the object lay awaiting its destiny. Seas rise and fall, mountains emerge, and upon the highest mountain, an intrepid adventurer happens upon the object. A worthy prize for ascending this to the tallest of peaks. This object has been documented to be held by many of the great dynasties of mankind, from the Persians to the Hans, the Mongols and the Ottomans, lives lost defending it from those who seek to possess it. Now it is in the trust of 3 wise men, who also reach such pinnacles, to be held by he who imparts the most astute knowledge upon fellow mankind. The winner of the annual Aussie NFL Fantasy Show Starts of the Week.
Starts of the week is here. Fellas, you know what I'm going to do, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to see another scoreboard. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm going to make a big deal out of something. And I've got no idea. Do you fellas have any idea what it's going to be? I can't imagine.
Is it the guys Taylor took in Taylor Talk out of my lineup?
100%. 100%. No, of course not. It's the start of the week. And
I haven't seen that.
Taylor hasn't seen this before.
I haven't seen this for about a day.
Weirdly, Taylor took the best quarterback last week, who scored 12.8 points and threw 5 intercepts.
I was laughing that whole time because I'm like, this is like the one scoring system, which I fucking hate, by the way. Like, I would have been like gladly like fine just giving up and punting and getting last just to make a point about how shit the scoring system is and standard scoring. Like, I can't stand it. So when Goff threw, I think it was the second pick. I can't remember if it was first or second, but it was like half a fumble. Like they weren't sure if it was a fumble or an intercept. I'm sitting there going, "Fuck, please be an intercept," because in this scoring system, it's -2 for a fumble, but -1 for an intercept. And I'm like,
right?
So fucking stupid.
So dumb.
Here we are. What about Matty being kissed on the dick with Austin Eckler because Brian Robinson was out?
Oi. Do you think I didn't take Eckler knowing that Robinson was questionable and still has a bullet in his leg and doesn't know how to run? I knew all that. I'm not stupid.
Bullet in his leg.
It's the Calvin Ridley one that I really got lucky on. It was not a good matchup, and Taylor was right. Like, is there any reason you would start Ridley against? The Jets aren't terrible, but so they're not good. Sorry, the Chargers. They're not terrible. They're not good, but Ridley ends up with 2 touchdowns, and whatever. So here he is.
What a byline.
Here he is. So and good luck buying him low this week. So
I still have. I've bought him in 3 leagues. So although I noticed that I had more shares of him still than I kind of realized. I thought I got out of him, but then I think I got back in after that Detroit game, and I don't think anyone else still believed, so I was able to get him cheap still. But you're right, it definitely cost me more this week than it would have last week.
Yeah, of course it did. And so, quick scoreboard update. Brad, who I liked his team, but he did go for the bargain basement guys. He ended up with Aaron Rodgers, Rico Dowdle, a bit of Quentin Johnson, who did find the end zone, and Mike Gesicki, who played on the Thursday night game. He winds up with 30 points. Tay, you had a bit more success. You got a bit out of Juwan Jennings, which was nice, and went up with 41. Stafford had a shocking game, but everyone else actually turned up, and I won each of the other positions, get home with 61 points. And it's my top score this season, so I'm really happy with that. It wasn't expected, but did. And then it means the starts of the week scoreboard after 10 weeks is that I'm out on 24 points. Taylor is ahead of the world. They've both got 18 points, but here's why. The aggregates. I've got 470.96. Taylor's got 476 someone's drawn over it, but 76. It's literally 0.8 of a point in aggregate between Taylor and I now, but it's 21 points more than the world have, who are also on 18 points. So that's why the leaderboard looks how it does. The world, Kev, they need saving. Has there ever been a time for a hero like there is now? And what better hero to bring in than you, who started this thing? You're still responsible for like almost 20% of the world points, and it's been 9 weeks since you contributed.
I can be your hero, baby.
I feel like Clark Kent running into a phone booth, but I'm probably going to pop out as Jimmy fucking Olsen this week. No, am I like?
Well, see what happens, mate. The downside is that you don't get to pick the draft order like you did the first time you were through. And some hero who's on a 4-game streak here thinks his Manjot Melly is.
Whoa, settle down.
Yeah, I know, I'm feeling heady. Kev, I'm feeling heady. Has picked the draft order. I'm going to reveal the draft order now before we start the clock. I've got Tay, you think you're such a magician at working out the money mind. Who do you think's got the first pick?
You put yourself first a lot, and then the one time I thought you were going to go first again, you put me. So I'm going to go the complete opposite of all of it and say I'm second. I'm going to say that Kev first, and you're putting yourself in the arsehole in.
Well, okay, so you're right a little bit.
A little bit, all right.
A little bit. I'm going to give you the first pick, and I'm going to put Kev second and me third. Kev, it's important that we work together here, mate, because
here comes the boxing out.
all this gloating like, oh yeah, but now we've got to work together, Kev. Keep Taylor out.
I didn't talk about my score that much. Really, come on. I've done this very deliberately because I think this week you might find someone who's half handy as the first overall pick, but I really don't think it's someone who separates himself that much. And I really think that leans towards Kev and I having a bit of advantage, having the next 4 straight picks. So that's the plan. And with that, in goes the chime. We're going to put Taylor on the clock at the first pick, and then Kev, you'll be second, I'll be third.
All right. Straight off the bat, I had someone I did like the most. It's probably still
I hope you would.
worth a question. He's at 20-odd% now. I think his last game before the bye, he was in the 40s. I still think he's iffy. Nick Chubb up against the Saints.
Kev, I'll take your ruling. I'm fine with it in the meantime.
Yeah, look, I know we have a thing about players coming off the bye. Matty and I had a little disagreement about Cole Komet a few weeks ago, which was weird considering the scraps team doesn't count for anything. But I'm totally fine with it. I'm okay with it.
Because it's still like iffy, like Jerome Ford's now back, and even though I think Chubb's clearly in front of him, I don't know. I just thought the situation, he hasn't had the breakout game, and that's what I'm hoping to get in front of here. I'm hoping that this is the game. The Saints are horrendous against running backs 30th. My only concern, obviously, would be is he doesn't get involved in the passing game. If the Saints led, Chubb would probably disappear. So it is a risk. I just liked him over a lot of the other guys that I had written down, and I just feel like against the Saints rushing defense, he sort of stood out to me. And, yeah, like I said, if you guys said no, I would have probably pivoted maybe even to another position. But, yeah, I just felt like he stood out for me in the running back position. So if he's all right, I'll take him.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Darren, lock him in.
Yeah, I've been tossing up between 2 people at the same position, but after my big call on him as a breakout, I'm going with Justin Herbert, 33% against the Bengals.
Yep, very nice.
Yes,
So
and love it.
That wasn't my stack, but I will lean into it. Let's go.
And what I love is that Taylor's taken just the most iffy guy who's not much use, and he's just walked past only Justin Herbert, his ex-husband, and it's falling in your lap, Kev. This is what I'm talking about, Kev. Taylor just gets rattled so easy these days. Look at him. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
He forgot where he put his ginger beer in.
Nah, that's already in my fucking belly.
Well, mate, I'm just going to go straight to... There's 2 positions that no one's taken yet. They're wide receiver and they're tight end. And I feel like at wide receiver, it would be just reckless to go past Keenan Allen versus the Packers. He's been getting a lot of targets. It hasn't really stuck. There's been a change in the way the Bears are doing their offense this week. I feel like that might actually lead to the targets being a little bit more successful. He's out targeting everybody else in that offense, and I'm just going to go and lean in and take him. He's currently, he was 40% when I wrote the list yesterday. Happy to be shouted down if he's gone over.
Yeah, it was funny because you and I were just we had a little bit of a conversation about him and the change we expect in this Bears offense before the show as well.
100%.
So he's not someone I had on my list this week just as I want to see how it played out, but he's at 37% started, Matty, so you are.
Oh, he's gone down.
That is, you got bigger balls than I have. I wouldn't even be touching that fucking Bears offense, especially after what they did to me in that fucking Commanders game a couple of weeks ago when I took the stack. I just can't trust that offensive line in Caleb at the moment. I know with the change away from Walden, you'd think there's like a bump straight up, but is it the guy that's taking over? I think I heard that he was the guy they tried to fix Bryce Young at the Carolina last year. Was that true?
He was the OC in his first year. But he was before that. He was in Sean McVay, who was the running backs coach for the Rams.
Yeah, I heard something that basically he's just been handed 2 of the worst fucking assignments for the last couple of years. Basically trying to fix Bryce Young and that Carolina fucking offense and then trying to walk into this shit show. It's interesting, but you never know.
The one thing Matty and I were talking about before the show though, Taylor, was he did have a habit last year of targeting the slot receiver and getting the ball out quickly. That's where I said I think Keenan might see a bump. I didn't expect it straight up this week, but he should start seeing some more targets.
Preach, Kev.
They are smart.
Preach, my brother.
I just don't know if they will. Are they smart? That's the question.
Matty, Keenan Allen.
I'm locking him in. I feel like I've got no disagreement that's going to be okay.
Right. Go. Yeah.
In fact, it sounds like I've got the Balls of Steel award for having a crack at that as my first pick. So fucking double down if he scores some points. On the way back, the other position that no one's touched yet is the tight end, and I'm going to go same game multi-tay and take my boy Tom Crouch, and I'm going to lean into him. He was 19% started when I checked about an hour ago. He is on the rise because, well, fair enough. There's 4 teams on a bye. At 19% this far out, I feel like he's okay against Chicago. Who says nay?
No, you're fine. Go for it. Still 19%. So.
Yeah, I reckon he will rise just tight end 7. I don't think it's going to go over 50. That's fine. I had him on my list. He was definitely someone I was sort of looking at. But, yeah, no, I've got absolutely no issue.
And I feel like they're solid picks. And we're going to go back to Kev now, who is the first person to now go to drafting for a position where there's already a player taken. And I feel like Kev is just going to nail the fucking shit out of this because he can take a running back, you can take a wide receiver, a tight end. No point in really taking a running back, though, Kev, because Taylor can't take one now. So feel free to aim at your wide receiver or tight end.
Yeah, no, I'm taking Cedric Tillman. He is my fucking boy, as you know, Matty. And
I do.
I think he's in for a big game against the Saints. Like, they got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. Winston, basically, I think this game here, you could tell me he threw 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in the same game, and I wouldn't be fucking surprised.
Tay, would you?
No, God, no. Nothing would surprise me with fucking Jameis. Like, it could be anything. I had both Tillman and Judy written down. I kind of think that both of them should be right in this game.
It's funny because I had Tillman and Elijah Moore written down.
Yeah. It's a funny one. It's just target. Yeah, they're all getting targets, and just because Jameis obviously throws it a fair bit, they're all kind of almost getting anywhere between 6 to 10 targets each. So I kind of like them all in a way. I probably wasn't going to go that route anyway because I've taken Chubb, so I probably wasn't going to go the odd running back wide receiver stack. But
that's a rare one.
I'll save that for the running back tight end stack. Unfortunately, it'd have to be a backup to Njoku. The Harrison Bryant or something. Is he still there?
Actually, he's 39% started.
He qualifies.
Really? Yeah, I had him on my list.
I had him on my list.
79% started. I've been looking at it.
Even coming off the bye at this point, I reckon there's a hot chance he stays under 52.
All right,
and I'd allow him.
The joke is here.
Running back tight end stack. He's fucking in.
I'd allow him. I would allow him.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
You talk me into it. No, I honestly, I would have just assumed he was going to be out. Honestly, I really like him this week. So yeah, I'll go the running back tight end stack in the end.
It works every time. It works every time.
It's like at least if a game script goes nuts, like if Chubb kind of gets rubbed out of the game because they're behind, at least I've got one piece of it at least still. So, all right, well, I don't have to take wide receiver. So it's funny because I had a different plan in mind and it was a little bit of a stack. So I'm wondering if I go a completely different direction now.
This is amazing.
I'm going there. I'm not. I don't think I'm taking the Jameis Chubb.
It's not Taylor's dog, mate. It's not Taylor's dog.
That would be the ultimate fucking big balls move. But got a couple of guys that I sort of am looking at between.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks this week. I found the further I dug, the more there were.
There's just guys with good matchups. It was like I was sort of running down the list of like going for the best matchup and then down because obviously you can just rule out guys that had highly started during that. But it was kind of just like 31st against 30th, 29th, 25th. Like it was like a lot of guys fit the mold of good matchup, but guys that were still iffy enough to be under 50%. So
100%.
There's 2 guys I'm really, really toying up here. I'm just sort of going through the arithmetic in my head about which ones could get like. I'm going to go Russ. I'm going to go Russ against the Ravens.
I love him this week.
He was my other option for instead of Herbert for breakout as well.
So
number 4 on my QB list.
I had someone else in mind, but the thing was, I just basically went through the arithmetic in my head at the end there is like, which ones could get like scripted out where their running backs just take everything and the other team doesn't keep up. And I'm like, the Ravens are definitely going to keep up. And they are so good against running backs that they're going to stop everything that Najee does. So it's basically going to be all.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to take him.
Bingo, Bringo. And it moves us to Kev now, who's got Justin Herbert and Sid Tillman. You got a running back and a tight end to fill. I've already got a tight end, Kev. So if I were you, I'd be aiming at the running back.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters what I do here at this point. But I am going. I've been debating here a little bit too because I did have Russ on my list. I had a stack with him, which I've just kind of faded away a little bit. But the other stack, which I was talking to Taylor about earlier, I'm going to take half of that now because the other half got ruined in Taylor talk. I'm going to take Audric Estime as my running back.
He was on my list.
He's Matty and I were talking before the show. He's kind of seeing a lot more work and he's starting to take over this backfield. He played a really good game against a tough Chiefs defense, and I think Denver's defense is going to keep Atlanta in a positive sort of field position where he's going to see a volume this week.
I mean, it's a balls call, Kev. It's a balls call. Do you know what his start percentage is?
2% fucking started.
Yeah, I got him
and
there.
I reckon it's mostly me. They just picked him up in about 4 leagues.
Kev's in 31 leagues. It's probably all Kev.
I got him in Astro, like I said, which I was surprised at, just because I thought he was kind of like in the running back position, which is so hard to do in Astro. Like, you got 4 bench spots. It's fucking impossible to find anyone. I was surprised that he got through because he's just was sitting at the top in terms of projection. So I thought someone would just take him, but it was good to get him there. And I got him in a couple of leagues too, even one that was another priority, not a fab league. I was able to get him in too, even though I was kind of lower. So, it speaks volumes that even though he had a good week last week, people still aren't in on him. Like, people were happy to let him go in waivers even when they were near the top. So it's good to get in on. And what I like, Kev, is that he had a mediocre but good volume game against the absolute worst matchup in fantasy football against the Chiefs. So it can only get better from there. So if he gets anywhere near that volume against the Falcons, like, he's in for a far better day.
Yeah, even then he was averaging 3.8 yards per carry against the Chiefs defense, which is one of the hardest to run on in the league. So
literally
number one. Positive field position, which they should be this week. You know, I think Sean Payton's just going to let him run it.
Okay, Kev, this is what makes me feel funny about it, is like, okay, so we're about to run our great running back into the best rushing defense in the world. Why don't we just let our rookie handle that, and then we just keep our veteran, our good running back for the shitty fucking Falcons? Why don't we just do that?
I see what you're saying, Matty, except he's been taking more and more work each week off Devontae. Yeah. Devontae's been losing snaps over the last month.
So, okay, and what I want to do here, and this is completely unrelated to everything else in the world, I want to water bet you, Kev.
Ooh.
I want to water bet you.
He's been fishing for one since he started talking about the Washington Commanders in the group chat, so here we go.
and this is it's just all for shits and gigs. Fantasy points. I say Javonte Williams has more fantasy points this week than Audric Estime. Do you say Audric Estime has more fantasy points this week than Javonte Williams?
100%.
So, water bet is on. And, mate, I'll pay up straight away. I owe you 2. So this may be a third, and I'll pay them up all before game start for week 12. But should Javonte Williams win, I expect you to pay up before week 12 starts.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
I'll have to do it on the weekend, but yeah, we'll make it work. Let's go.
Plenty of time. Like, you got till next Friday. Plenty of time. Okay. Water bet's in. Take. That's simple.
Beautiful. Love it.
I fucking love it. All right. I'm gonna wrap up my team. I'm gonna do it by going to the quarterback to end the third round. And I'm just gonna go with Goff versus the Jags because I feel like it's the safest bet in the world, right?
Yeah, he's on my list again. Of course he is. He's fucking there every week.
Yeah, he's Taylor's boy. And I get it. And this week especially, and he's still in the 40% range. So I don't expect him to kick the ass out of that, even with all the 4 teams on the bye. But if you'd think he's going to jump 50. Just tell me now, I'll pivot.
No. He's perfect for this segment, especially after 5 intercepts. It's not like he just banged out a fucking awesome game last week. He couldn't have showcased more iffiness if he tried. So no, he fits this segment for a reason. And like I said, the Jags, even though it comes up as 30th against quarterback, there is always this propensity that they're going to just get destroyed on the grounds. There's always, especially against Detroit, there is also a chance that it's efficient for Goff and he doesn't do a heap. So that proves that it's iffy even in a good matchup. But he could also dominate. That's the thing,
But we also stopped a great offense and made him kick 4 field goals.
Well, that's what I mean.
What fucking ever. Whatever. Whatever.
I started Darnold a couple of games last week and he was fucking atrocious. So that's I guess that's the problem is they can't.
Who the fuck thought that was going to be a 12-7 game? You point to me the person who thought that. Oh my God.
Jones just fucking trounced them in that first drive and it just all
and it was over.
All turned to a pumpkin after that. But
52 minutes of shit.
I'm actually starting Mac Jones in a super flex league this week if Lawrence doesn't play. So
I probably am too, to be honest. To be honest.
I'm just waiting for Matty to pick Javonte Williams as his running back now starts.
Can't wait.
I'm this close, but do you know who I'm going to pick? And this is the iffy one. I said the whole time I've got one that's got conjecture. You both have your running backs. I'm taking, and I need you to shout me down if you don't think this is okay, Travis Etienne against the Detroit Lions.
I'll be honest, he just didn't even factor in, so I'm going to need to research this. It's off the top of my head, because he's back to being a starter. He's clearly back.
Is he?
Isn't he?
43% started.
Bigsby. I mean, if he's sitting there at 43% started, I guess he fits. It's hard to actually just go off his name value and say he's not. He was 40 last week. He's 43 this week.
Shout me down. I don't mind being shouted down, but this is me putting my balls out there.
I'll be honest. I kind of think he fits, and he probably fits in the same way that Nick Chubb does for me, in the way that it's like a fallen gun fallacy. It's okay, yeah, the name sounds like it probably is someone that wouldn't fit a segment like this these days, but the way that he's played and the way things have gone pretty much all year, and the fact that the numbers are there, it's saying he's 43% started, I'm actually fine with it, honestly. I just don't
take your ruling, though. If Kev says he's out, he's out. I'm down with it.
I'll say yes, but if Kev says no, I can understand that too.
I'll roll with whatever your decision is.
Fuck you, Matty. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. He's all right. I wasn't sure whether he'd fit, so I was like, he would have been third on my list anyway, or fourth. So
I would have found it hard with running back to even go him, even if I thought of it, because of how bad the matchup is too. But
I guess I was a move to, but
no, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes him fit even more. Is that I think his matchup's bad, but I guess if they got him back in the passing game, then it could be okay. I don't know. It's iffy enough. It's fine.
It's kind of funny because my number 2 running back's still just sitting there, and it was Jaylen Warren.
That's mine too. I was about to say it.
On my list.
Were you thinking about taking Warren, Kev? But then I remembered.
It was the Warren Russ stack and the Nick's estimate were 2 of the stacks I was talking to you about earlier in the week.
I was saying.
It's just Jalen. I think he's going to get the passing down work, and they are probably going to have to pass the ball because the Ravens are a bit harder to run on.
Yeah, that he's going to be that's something I'd water bet is he's going to be far better than Najee this week because I just feel like they're going to get stifled and they're going to need the pass catching back against this Ravens team for sure. So I think Warren's in for a good game. Even though, if you look at the matchup, it says 8th against running back, but I don't think he's going to be used as the, normal between the tackles running back. He's going to be used in the passing game.
I can't believe I'm getting ETN versus Detroit. Oh, my God. Weird. Okay. Kev, you're up. Jesus.
Oh, geez. What have I got left? Oh, the arsehole.
You need to get a tight end.
Yeah. Will Disley was on my list, but obviously Taylor killed that. Thanks, Taylor.
Fucking Taylor.
That would have been a fucking fantastic stack with Herbert.
So shit, Kev.
The other one I was looking at, you guys have both got tight ends now, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, this is your last pick. You're on.
Yeah, so the other one I was looking at was Dawson Knox, but I'm just not 100% sure if
Kincaid.
he's going to be out or not. I'm going to take a guy that I took to the scraps team last week, which was apparently the wrong New England tight end, but I think he's going to have a bit of a bounce back this week, and give me Hunter Henry against the Rams.
He was
my
second, yeah.
Yeah, same.
The only second of mine after Will Disley that Taylor fucked.
Yeah, I love fucking Disley. Jonnu Smith was on my list too because I was considering stacking him with Tua. But the reason I went, like I said, I went Russ over Tua anyway is because I just worried that the Dolphins will run all over the Raiders and the Raiders won't keep up and it will just turn into a shit fight. So,
and here I'd say, with the last pick in the draft, you need a wide receiver. You got Russ, Chubb, and Njoku, which, what a weird trio.
I know I'm going to take, it's because it's a guy that I've like almost flirted with taking in a lot of different weeks, and I like him, and he's found his way onto a lot of my teams, and he's the 100% the one in the team. It's not a great matchup. That's the only thing. I've got a guy that's got a better matchup, but I'll just say I've got Jennings on my list again, that I took last week, because I just think he's got a better matchup than this
some
guy.
points.
But I'm going to take Jacoby Myers. I just really, really like him. I just think he's so involved in the team. It doesn't seem to even matter who fucking plays quarterback. They just always seem to hyper target Myers. Whenever like Adams isn't there, which obviously he isn't even on the team anymore, he just seems to get all the work. Like I just trust him. Look, the touchdown upside isn't there, and it probably won't be, especially against this Dolphins defense. But I just think he's going to get fucking hyper targeted with him. I really like him. I've got him in like 4 different leagues, and I trust him because he's just so utilized in this offense.
It's funny how you said you had Juwan Jennings on your list because I had Ricky Pearsall on mine.
Yeah,
I just the Niners are trying to manufacture touches for him and trying to get him involved, and I just thought it was a good chance.
I was in on Jennings, and I was a bit surprised because obviously there was still technically the chance he didn't even play. Like he was coming off that injury that kept him out before the bye. But I kind of like all of them, but that's also the issue is like when they're all healthy, like Debo, Kittle, Pearsall even coming in, Jennings. It's like sometimes you can be worried that it's just gonna be one of those games. Obviously, CMC's back; he's taken a shitload of fucking targets as well. It can be a little bit hit and miss. I'm worried about. So I was like, you know what? I took Jennings and it worked. There's a decent chance it's going to go back and forward. He might not work this week. So I just thought I'd take the absolute known quantity of targets from Myers, and if it only works out to be 4 for 40 or 5 for 40 or something like that, I'll take it.
Have a crack. I mean, Tay, let me give you your team. You got Russ versus Baltimore, who's a 15% start. It's actually a low watermark, 15%. Then it goes Chubb versus New Orleans at 27% start. Jacoby Myers at Miami, 29% start, and David Njoku versus New Orleans as well, 39% start. He's your highest. Let's go to Kev. Herbert versus Cincinnati, 33%. Estime at Atlanta, 27%.
Fuck, he's gone up. Must have been because of waivers.
Yeah, and that's a big jump, but I think he 100% fits.
Yeah.
Cedric Tillman versus New Orleans, 29%, and Hunter Henry versus the Rams, 30 flat. So there's a band. You got 27 to 33 is Kev's team. That's bang. It's a sandwich. It's like a Monaco bar, that one. And then my side is Goff versus the Jags, 40%. ETN versus Detroit, 43%. Keenan Allen versus Green Bay, 27%. And then Tuck Kraft in the same game against Chicago, 19%. So, I think all added up, we've got guys who roughly land in that 25 to 30% range across our board. And the highest watermark I've got is ETN, 43%, which is weird because he was a top 3 pick in any league you wanted to play in. And here he is, week 11, as an iffy start. Oh, my God. How far we've come.
Yeah, the mighty have fallen.
There you go. That's our starts of the week, gentlemen. And well done. Kev, you're back. You've shown us the error of our ways in week 1.
Oh, mate, I've just set and forget now, basically, isn't it? Just straight into number 1 again.
You just give him the rosette. straight away first with the bullet?
Just put the crown on, mate. That's it. They're done.
Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit like we did earlier. How many points do you think your team's going to score? I just need to know an over-under.
Like, if you told me to set an over-under line, I'm going 55.5.
55.5. Tay, I love Kev. Can we have him on every week?
Oh, absolutely, mate. And boys, I'm just at the moment, I'm trying to work out what I'm going to pick as the draft order next week. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say. You guys are shit. You haven't even done a running back tight end stack.
Day's on fire, by the way. Running back tight end stack, actually pretty sure undefeated this year, by the way.
Oh, you took me tight end from my QB tight end stack, and then you took me QB from my QB running back stack.
What I do
Yeah,
best.
do you have a Denver tight end, by the way? Does anyone remember the last time Denver had a tight end? Anyone?
Dulcich, when he was a tidy spit.
I got one in trade the other day. I can't remember who it is. It's a rookie.
Is it Eric Salbert or someone? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's still Dulcich, technically. Oh, fucking Adam Trout.
Bench in Seattle. Lucas Kroll.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Is the current tight end, won 4.1 points last week against the Chiefs.
All right, okay, so we're done. Fellas, I'm going to let you all go because it's pretty late on a school night. You can find everything we do on the Aussie Gridiron Network. You'll find that at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. It is where you find the guys from G'day Gridiron. You would have heard them yesterday. It's Nick Cosme, it's Brad Cummins, who we had on our show last week, and it's Ian Tomlinson, who we are going to have on this show in the next month. I cannot wait. But also, earlier in the week, he had Isaac Connerty too, who's been through our show as well. It's a great fantasy community we have here in Australia, and so many of the things we do can be found there. Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. You'll find Manjot, our old co-host, too, doing so many great things with Gridiron in Australia through the Aussie Gridiron Today show. Plenty of leagues across Australia now engaging with that show, and you'll find things further than where we reach in the ACT. You'll also find games from other states on that now, too, as that show reaches across our nation. You'll also find Manjot doing Manjot Night Football. Can't wait for more episodes of that. Hey, I got to say, Kev, thank you for coming on to the show twice in the one season. You poor bastard. How do you feel?
Mate, it's actually 3 times if you include the preseason, but you might not invite me back when you get your arse handed to you in starts this week. So
I was going to go the other way. I was going to ask if you need a hug because, mate, this is a pretty traumatic experience to go through 3 times.
Nothing's traumatic when you win, is it, Taylor?
I wouldn't know, mate. But look, I'm going to know after this week, after my, I'll say it again, the running back tight end stack of the fucking Browns. It's going to leave you guys a bit of fucking brown in your pants. Let's go.
And if that brown's chocolate, because I've been sweeter than shit since I've been winning every week.
You just got chocolate in your undies. Great.
Which is fine. I'd rather chocolate than whatever the hell's in your undies, mate.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit.
All right, fellas, we're going to get out of here. It's pretty late in the night for a bunch of old men like us. Kev, thank you again. We're always grateful to have you in our community, but even better to have you on the show. Can't wait to have you back again really soon. Thanks so much for everything you give us.
Thanks, Kev.
No worries, boys. Always a pleasure to kick your ass.
In the meantime, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. I'm going to say hooroo.
Hooroo.
It's going like my season, boys. See you later.
See you later.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
I didn't know whether I was singing goodbye to the Bears season, Shane Waldron, or Matty's winning streak on starts of the week. Yeah, Garden Minty, I was saying goodbye to him fucking week 4. I know what you're on about.
Aussie?
This is so Aussie. Mate, just fucking 100 ex-GST.
It should be a lot worse than dicks. Dicks are too nice.
They get festering assholes or something.
NFL?
I do think even though Goff was throwing fucking interceptions for fun, like Oprah was throwing out fucking cars to the audience.
I'm just on Team Manjot here after his rant.
Fantasy.
Just kind of feels like first experience. Like, I don't know if I like that. Matty and I agreeing.
What could go wrong at tight end and me and Matty agreeing?
What a clusterfuck of an organisation.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
I can feel it in my plums, Matt. He's a drop machine. He's the Dontavian Wicks of the podcast.